Donald Trump is in the Epstein files thousands and thousands of times. In those files, there's highly disturbing allegations of Donald Trump raping children, of Donald Trump threatening to kill children. So I encourage your press to go look at these allegations.
So that was Ted Lieu out of California. He's a Democratic representative in the United States House. And about time, finally, someone said it. Someone said what you've been thinking, what I've been thinking, that Donald J. Trump, the president, voted in president of the United States, has horrific allegations against him that isn't getting talked enough about in the United States mainstream. Everyone's scared. I get it, because obviously we're in the situation we're in. But like Representative Ted Lieu said, he has rape allegations against him. He has murder allegations against him, both for minors and not. And the fact that the president of the United States keeps telling us to move on from it because his DOJ cleared him means that we cannot move on from it. It actually means we need to continue talking about it more than ever. It's horrific what is going on right now around the world. Around the world. Princes, princesses, queens, kings, judges, Supreme Court judges, lawyers, advisors to politicians, wealthy businessmen, you name it, everybody's involved. And it's sick. It's really sick. It's so sick to the point where, what do we do? How do we as a society move forward? And I mean that because me and you, the average person, shit, everybody, we are not consumed to receive this sort of information. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a lot. It's a lot to receive on subjects that in our minds should even be a forefront of someone else's mind. Harming children. It's the most heinous thing you can do. Yet there's a whole child predator sex trafficking ring for these sick fucks. Do you understand what I'm saying? They created a whole world. They created a whole world so they can participate in these heinous acts and never get caught. That is exactly why Jeffrey Epstein was able to text, was able to email, was able to say all these things so openly, because he built a system, him and a team, by the way, not just one person did this. They built a system around them. A group of straight white men built a system around them to abuse the system, to infringe on people's rights, to take everybody's dignity away. The list goes on. And me and you, the average person who goes about their job, who does everything right to the book, who pays all their taxes, who doesn't do anything incriminating because you're terrified, like who literally does everything right. It's insane. It's insane that a world like this exists. It's not a movie, a horror movie. It's real life. Directors are involved, celebrity. The list goes on. And I think we all need to level set that the world isn't going to be the same again. Whether you are into politics or not, there's no excuse anymore. We're forced to, because we have to. This is not normal. We should not be consuming this much information in this way on a daily basis. And what I mean by that is pedophile protectors trying to convince us that we're stupid and that we don't see all of the criminating evidence in front of us. We're now hearing there's some emails coming out that the lottery system is rigged and that Jeffrey Epstein made $80 million from the New Mexico lottery system to build his ranch in New Mexico. I understand I'm jumping a lot, but there's a purpose for all of this. And the aim of this today is for, I hope all of you to understand, if you don't know by now, and I know a lot of you got it. A lot of you got it already. But all of these heinous things, these criminal activities, didn't just happen on an island, didn't just happen on a plane. Jeffrey Epstein had access to so much resources, so many different resources, hotels, hospitality businesses, other planes, ranches, world leaders in different countries. This was one of the biggest scandals of organized crime ever. And we have people who are in the White House. I can only speak for the US right now, right? Listen, I understand it's everywhere. We have people in the White House still operating, knowing that they're in the files over 5,000 times, Mr. President. We have business leaders still making millions of dollars knowing what they did, Bill Gates. We have congressmen. It's so fucked. I'm going to put it to you straight. There's no other way to say this is just a disgusting, vile thing. And I don't know if you guys are also feeling this way. I have so many mixed emotions. Anger is just one that comes up all the time because I'm so angry that not only the survivors and victims have to go to great lengths just to see an ounce of justice, but no one's believing them. We believe them, but you get what I'm saying. No one's believing them when the evidence is right here in front of our face. We are being played. We're being played. And they're downplaying all of the involvement. I don't know where to begin. So I'm just going to say this first and foremost. On this podcast, like I always have been doing, I am going to be covering Epstein. I am going to be covering this until the last person gets justice. I don't care. So this is the first of many, and I'm going to be reading and showing you some just horrific things. And even after this, I still feel like in my head I didn't do it justice. That's how bad it is. I only hope now, as of Wednesday, February 4th, more people are like Representative Ted Lieu. Call it what it is. The President of the United States of America has over what? They're saying, some people are saying 5,000, some people are saying 50,000. Thousands of mentions within the Epstein drop. There's been multiple drops, by the way, so we're just talking about this latest one, 3 million. Thousands of times for many different things. Even his character, allegations against him, criminal activity, you name it. But yet he has the nerve to tell us all to move on. I'm not moving on. No way. Then you got Todd Blanche. Listen to this.
You said this is the end of the Epstein, of your review of the Epstein files. So, just to clarify, is the public going to learn the identities of the men who abused the girls with the information that you're releasing? And if not, why not? And then I have a quick follow-up.
I mean, you just baked in an assumption into your question that I have never said and I don't know to be true. Is the public going to learn about men that abuse these girls? Like, what does that mean? I mean, I don't understand what that means.
Well, I mean, they're the men who abused the young women through Epstein's,
Look, we said in July, and it remains as true today as it was in July. If we had information, we meaning the Department of Justice, about men who abused women, we would prosecute them, right? We talked about the work that we're doing. That's why I said that. I said this earlier. There's this built-in assumption that somehow there's this hidden tranche of information of men that we know about that we're covering up or that we're choosing not to prosecute. That is not the case. I don't know whether there are men out there that abuse these women. If we learn about information and evidence that allows us to prosecute them, you better believe we will. But I don't think that the public or you all are going to uncover men within the Epstein files that abuse women, unfortunately.
So I don't know about you guys, but do you feel like they're trying to play you? because I feel like he's trying to play me. Even if you're not reading the files at a great length like I am, I know damn well you've seen something about the files. And I know damn well when you were reading those files or listening to whatever, even if it's this podcast, you're sitting there thinking, oh no, someone needs to go to prison, right? Someone needs to go to prison here in the United States of America. Not someone, everybody, in my opinion. But I will tell you now, Donald Trump is the biggest dumb fuck in the world. And do you want to know why him and his administration are just so stupid? Because they didn't account that other countries may have leaders with morals and may have leaders that would want to do some investigation. And that's what's happening now. We're starting to hear about Italy. We're starting to hear about Poland. We're starting to hear about France doing their own investigation into Epstein. The UK, which they're not doing enough. Keir Starmer needs to resign. The only thing we have here in the United States, a free press getting arrested, Don Lemon. I will say, though, as of February 3rd, the Clintons, Bill and Hillary Clinton, have officially decided to testify. Now, how that's going to go down in the United States of America, we'll never know, because I want it publicly, but you know, the Republicans. I am very curious about that, because I will die on this hill when I say this as well. Jeffrey Epstein was a convicted, guilty predator, child molester, child prostitution. He was found guilty in 2008. In 2008, Jeffrey Epstein was found guilty of child prostitution. So I don't give any damns. I give none, zero fucks to whoever is in the files after 2008 when they come out and say, we didn't know about his criminal activity. Oh, I didn't. Bill Gates saying that, Reid Hoffman saying that, Elon Musk, but you knew he was guilty of being a pedophile. Prostitution of minors. No excuse. So when you hear all of these examples, just remember that one fact is that Epstein in 2008 was found guilty. Now we can talk about that another date. Okay, Alex Acosta and the sweetheart deal and all that bullshit, how a convicted, guilty pedophile only went to jail for under 2 years. So I'm going to be covering very sensitive stuff. If I totally get it. If you can't stomach it, go outside, get some fresh air, come back, do what you need to do. But you need to be aware of what is going on. Even if you don't want to read the emails, put me on the fast forward. We're reading. All right, let's get into it. One of the emails I really want to talk about, this one has been super interesting to me as well. So here is Epstein being told he has permission to kill an unidentified person. And one thing that I noticed, which I can tell that Midas Touch, who's an independent news source that I listen to on a daily basis, one thing that I noticed is when Epstein talks about murder or when Epstein talks about doing something heinous to somebody, he always says, whoops. Which is so sick to me because this is how they are. They're like, whoops, oopsies, I killed someone, whoops. Well, let's read it. Somebody who is redacted, because the DOJ is redacting everybody, somebody goes, I give you permission to kill him. He's apparently with Olga. He lied to you and he lied to me. Jeffrey Epstein replies and goes, whoops. Whoever Jeffrey was talking to, they reply saying, no one will lie to you and get away with it from me. No one. Whoops is correct. Some sick shit. So these people were so invincible, they thought they can get away with it. Now, you know how I told you that we didn't know who this is from? I'm not going to say the person because it's not confirmed. Can you see here? Do you see that there where my cursor is? Right under the from, there's a little bit of, you can see the letters, right? They obviously didn't redact it very well. I don't know how the internet is able to do their thing. They were able to figure out who that was. I suggest you Google it. I'm not going to say it because it's not confirmed. There we go. But this is how these sick people, this is how they would talk. They would talk to each other. They were so invincible. Okay. Next, now this one is also, this did actually take up a little bit. So Ava Dublin, so this one, they did not redact whoever Ava Dublin is. I had to look up who Ava Dublin is. I literally typed in who is Ava Dublin. And Ava Dublin is a Swedish American physician, philanthropist, model, but keyword here, she was Miss Sweden in 1980. Now, I bring that up. The pageants, the contests, because that plays a huge factor into how Epstein and his orbit were able to sex traffic people. Now, I need you also to think about that, right? Trump had a lot of pageants. Trump had a lot of beauty pageants. In fact, I think it's really important I put a lot of things into perspective. So let's watch this together. So it's really important to know that beauty pageants were used to funnel kids, minors, from one country to another or one city to another without being flagged, right? Without it being concerned because they were going to a beauty pageant. And a lot of moms back in the day, when you look at a lot of the beauty pageant moms, I don't give a damn, I'm going to say it, they were complicit too. Because ain't no way. Because there's rumors that Donald Trump used to inspect the beauty pageants themselves, allegedly. It's weird, right? I sure as hell wouldn't do that. I found this CNN piece with Don Lemon about what it's like to compete in a US pageant, and figured I would show you because I also found it very interesting. Yeah. And so that was so the person speaking is the 2006 Miss North Carolina, Samantha Holvey, who alleges that Donald Trump had contestants line up and he inspected them at the event. So that's really important for me to show you because allegedly he was also conducting teen pageants with a lot of minors at. And as some of you may know now, if you put two and two together, Epstein would sex traffic women through pageants. There's alleged that he would also sex traffic them through the kids through certain spaces like Mar-a-Lago, certain hospitality industries like what the president owns. I think that we definitely need to think about what else does the president own? Because according to the files, Trump actually wasn't even a billionaire. He just like every other person that tries to say they're a billionaire, they're really not. They're paid off by other people. So he was just the puppet in this big ring, and the reason why he's a puppet because he's stupid. And there's another thing I want to talk about Trump real quick. There's another thing I want to say about Trump. I think a lot of you can relate to this. I think a lot of people were having conversations. Oh, it's not going to be that bad, right? It's not going to be that bad. He's not going to do all this horrendous stuff, blah, blah. And I believe that because I thought he was so stupid that he would never be able to achieve a lot of the threats that he would put out. And this was naive me back in the day. I thought he was just so dumb. I couldn't understand why people voted for him. I still don't, but you know what I mean? Then as the Epstein files start coming out, I start to realize, oh, no, it was everybody behind Trump that had worked him like a fiddle. He actually still is the dumbass. He's just easily persuaded by money. Assault, it seems, allegedly. Sick fuckers. These people are sick. Everybody that's mentioned in the files, they're so sick. So I just wanted to say that Ava Dublin, and going back to Ava Dublin was Miss Sweden. Anybody that has those titles, let's pay real close attention. That's all I gotta say. So going back to murder. So going back to the alleged murders that Epstein was writing about and talking about. So Ava Dublin, she's this person. Mary Kennedy, found dead in her backyard. Jeffrey Epstein, whoops. Now I'm going to stay on this one because this one is very important, and understand the lengths of this government. Mary Kennedy, used to be married to RFK Jr., who is our current health secretary. Mary Kennedy died by suicide in 2013, I believe, 2012, 2013. Now, there was a recent investigation by, again, Midas Touch, people that I very much trust when it comes to this. They're former lawyers. They've been doing this for years. Trump hates them, so you can kind of put their two and two. Now, they did a deep dive into Mary Kennedy and her history. Now, the Daily News reported back in 2019 that there may be more suspicions around Mary Kennedy and her committing suicide or harming herself. And this all comes off the backs because this all comes off the back of an autopsy report that reported she had her fingers between the rope, like the noose and the rope. And former New York medical examiners have said that this doesn't look like a suicide hanging because they felt like she was trying to reverse course at the end and try to free herself. And, you can take that as you will, right? You can take that as you will, but then it gets deeper. Politico did an article also back in the day, and they reported that not long after Mary was laid to rest, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., our current health secretary, had her body removed, dug up, and moved to an unidentified plot in the opposite side of the cemetery. Now, the weird thing about this is that Robert F. Kennedy won a court case against Mary Kennedy's siblings to have her buried in a specific area. Why would you dig up your wife's body and move it without he didn't even have the permissions, by the way. So why would you move her body all of a sudden randomly out of nowhere? So former New York medical examiners are saying that they've investigated many suicides and they've never seen a hanging like this. And then fast forward all these years later with Epstein, they're talking about Mary Kennedy. Right here. Mary Kennedy found in her dead backyard. And you want to know something else? She died May 16th, 2012. This is May 17th, 2012 at 1:17 a.m. Ava Dublin and Jeffrey Epstein saying, whoops, it's dark. It's dark as fuck. It's dark. I don't know how else to put it. It's dark. More emails. So someone named Brian Miller says to whoever's name's redacted, again, there's no explanation on why these names are redacted. Actually, in fact, the DOJ, Pam Bondi, and all of them was supposed to provide detailed explanation on why they redacted these people. And they didn't. They've committed so many crimes. If they do not go to prison after this, I have no faith. I actually have no faith in anything anymore, honestly, with this system. Anyways, the judicial system is trash. Right. So Brian Miller says, back in the 90s, Ghislaine Maxwell recruited a girl from a modeling career. Instead of modeling, she was sold as a slave for sex and torture. Prince Andrew was an accessory to her death as he tortured her and me to force her murder. I need to get a passport to identify her. I will need someone to contact the passport office to get an expedited passport. Text blank, thanks blank. Whoever that was sent to, and if you notice here, it says to, whoever forwarded this off, forwarded it to multiple people. You see that? So whoever replied goes, he called me wanting to give him a secure email address. He is from blank. The number came up is blank. There's a trend. There's a trend of murder, rape and murder. Prince Andrew, I've covered him so many times. He's done. And let me explain about Prince Andrew. I am going to go into Prince Andrew in a bit. I just want to read some more of these emails. Another person that's all up in the freaking files, Peter Attia. I don't know how to say his name. Anyways, this guy is important to know because he's still doing this like guru shit. A very well-known medical person, but you know what? I'm not into the like, he's like a Jay Shetty to me. I'm not really into those like self-help, like physical like gurus who tell you to eat all these vitamins that they don't know anything about because they're not really like credited. And then I come to find out this Peter Attia, whatever. Anyways, this Peter guy, he's not even on the medical board. So like in my head, if you didn't take all the qualifications to get on like the medical board or to be recognized by the medical board, you're not a physician. So anyways, this guy is getting a lot of shit right now because nobody expected him to be in the files, at least within his community, medical community. But he's also very like, he's a part of that bro culture, and most likely was the person who's saying, let's drain the swamp. So he's a hypocrite. And look at this stuff. Somebody, Leslie Grove, I don't know who that is, but that person also has been brought up a lot, and I'll look into them later. But thanks so much for the safe trip home. Peter replies, this is also in 2016. Remember 2008, 2008 is when Jeffrey Epstein was guilty. 2008 is when he was guilty. So in 2016, this Peter guy was still messaging with Jeffrey Epstein and co. And he goes, no, thank you so much. See you next time. Hopefully J.E., Jeffrey Epstein, in town when I'm back in 2 weeks. I go into J.E. withdrawals when I don't see him. Another Peter Attia email. This is TMI, but I'm going to read it. He directly messages Jeffrey Epstein and goes, pussy is indeed low carb. Still awaiting results on gluten content though. To me, that's also an inside waiting results on gluten content. And just so you know, Jeffrey Epstein filmed all of his victims for leverage. And I wonder if the gluten content means that. There's also some other, like the Pizzagate stuff I do want to talk. They did talk in code. Jeffrey Epstein and his goons talked in code. That's a whole other video because for context, they would say things like cheese pizza or grape soda. And so like cheese pizza would mean like little girl. It's sick. So maybe I'll go over that in another video, but I just want you to understand they were doing code words. They were trying to speak in a certain way, but yet still had this privilege about them where they just knew they were untouchable. And the reason why they knew that they were untouchable is because they had everybody in their pockets. Judges, lawyers, politicians, rich, wealthy businessmen, everybody. So they did get away with it. And as you know, they got away with it for decades because we're just finding out now in 2025. Even though we knew that we heard alleged because their files have been dropping over the couple of years, you know, Ghislaine Maxwell's not maximum prison anymore. Great. Which makes Trump look even more guilty. It's insane. But anyways, we know all this. So this is crazy to me. So this Peter guy, and as you can see here, David Longevity Labs. Oh, that's another thing. This Peter guy, his whole thing is longevity. Yeah, I can't. So this Dave guy goes, beyond disgusted that Peter Attia, MD, a man who I followed for years, generally looked up to, is in the Epstein files over 1,000 times. Okay, 1,000 times. So let me go to Peter Attia's stupid response. And then I'm going to start talking about people's responses as we go through, because I just feel like it's better for me to show you the content and then show you how fucked up these people are. So he came out with a statement. Following email is what I sent to my team last night. I sent a similar version to my patients also. Oh, another thing. He has patients. This man who was emailing with Jeffrey Epstein after he was convicted has patients. Whatever. I'm not going to read all of it. I'm not going to lie. It's long as fuck. But basically he's saying, to be clear, I was not involved with any criminal activity. Right then and there, everybody that says that has emails with Jeffrey Epstein after 2008 is absolutely, in my opinion, involved some way, shape, or form. There is no way you spent time saying how much you miss him, how much you love him, how the pussy is so good that you didn't know. You sick freaks. Because also, if you ever went to Epstein Island, any of his houses, you would know. You would see the photos of inappropriate children. Am I going crazy? Like, these men are so dumb. They're so dumb. So we have that. 2, my interaction with Epstein had nothing to do with sexual abuse or exploitation of anyone. Like it. So whose pussy was good? Love for him to explain that. Number 3, I was never on his plane, never on his island, and never present at any of his sex parties. Now I need you to understand this. All of the horrendous shit that happened with Jeffrey Epstein and co. didn't just happen on his island, didn't just happen on the plane. He also had a whole compound in New Mexico. He had all of these places. He had friends in Mar-a-Lago. He had friends who had golf courses. It did not just happen on the island or the plane. They think we're stupid. Then they go, that said, I apologize and I regret myself putting you in a situation. No, you don't. You're just mad you got caught. So this is what we're working with. A lot of these men saying, I didn't say anything, blah, blah. It doesn't matter to me because you were messaging with a convicted, guilty pedophile. Dumb. Whoever these people's PR teams are, I'm shook. Everybody needs to fire everybody. Everybody needs to either fire everybody or get somebody because this is just horrendous. So this is how long it is. Load of bullshit. Everybody, no one's like, look, no one's buying it. No one's buying it. Okay, so real quick, I want to jump in and talk about Reid Hoffman and Elon Musk. As you all know, the lore with Elon Musk and the Epstein Files dates back. I mean, he's honestly the reason why I think people on the right started to look at Trump more. I think he's the because he came out because he was pissed. He didn't get the contracts that Trump promised him. So he came out and was like, do you know why Trump doesn't want to release the files? Because he's in them. So Elon Musk really put Trump on a lot of people's radar, in my opinion. And because of that, he's now experiencing the backlash. Like he went around saying, I'm not in the files, but Trump is, or I'm not in the files, but other people are. Like, I'm not complicit. I remember when Jeffrey Epstein tried to get me to go to his island, and I said no. He was very vocal about his participation within the files or lack of. But then the files got released a couple days ago. And it actually shows that Elon Musk was pretty friendly with Jeffrey Epstein and didn't quite he didn't quite reject him as much as we thought. So I do want to just set that there, and I'll go through a few examples in a minute. But I also want to talk about Reid Hoffman. He's also in the files. And so Reid Hoffman is the CEO of LinkedIn, one platform that we're all very familiar with, at least me, because I'm looking for a job. And so he's in the files. And he's defending himself because everyone's like, the fuck? And so he's trying to defend himself. But the issue is Elon Musk is also trying to defend himself by deflecting all of the attention on others, which is why I'm seeing Reid Hoffman versus Elon Musk now. So the billionaires decided to turn on each other to let you know who is in the files more and who is implicated more, which I think is sick. I think that's so sick. These two assholes are fighting about who is more in trouble in the files and having a verbal spat about it. Is anybody else disgusted by that? They're literally fighting on who allegedly knew about the abuse of minors more than the other. That's how I'm interpreting it. That's how it looks. It looks sick. So I don't even know where to begin. Let's just do it. And because, they're trying to fight on who was in there more, they're trying to out each other. It's just, men, these are the people that we gave all this power to. Insanity. Okay, finding it because they're just looking so guilty. So one thing that I thought was interesting, back January 2019, Elon Musk goes, just a reminder that Reid Hoffman really did say in a public forum that he wished President Trump had been killed in the assassination attempt. So again, that's like he brought that up to deflect and put on other people. Reid Hoffman replies and goes, just a reminder that Elon Musk really implied in a public forum that President Trump is a pedophile and still chooses to spend hundreds of millions to support him. Remember that tweet I was talking about? Here it is. Elon Musk, time to drop the really big bomb. At real Donald Trump is in the Epstein Files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. He followed up and said, mark this post for the future. The truth will come out. And guess what? That post is no longer live. So this is a screenshot. And then, so he, Reid Hoffman says that, and then replies saying, also not surprisingly, Elon is lying again. So then that's when the verbal stuff started happening and Reid just started going in. So then he starts, I knew these were bad people, but this is truly nauseating. And he references a disgusting allegation against Trump, which I'm sure you all have heard it by now. That's why I haven't mentioned it. I'm trying to mention things that aren't as public, but this one says the accusation. By the way, this column here is the complaint. So that's what's all in the complaint. And then this column here where it says no contact information would be who is, if my memory serves me correctly, I have seen this Excel. It is who is listed. So who is the abuser and what is their contact information, just for some context. And so this complaint says Donald Trump, the president, so this had to have been this complaint was filed during his first term. Donald Trump, the president, had parties at Mar-a-Lago called Calendar Girls. Jeffrey Epstein would bring the children in and Trump would auction them off. That's another thing. I'm not going to finish that because it goes into very horrific stuff of what Trump did to those girls, which is touching them inappropriately, which reminds me so much of this Katie Johnson case of this 13 to 14-year-old girl who accused Donald Trump of rape and he got acquitted. And if memory serves me correctly, the allegation was that he stuck fingers up her. And it just reminds me very much of this allegation. So the allegations are very serious and it needs to be investigated. And I'm going to go to Trump in a minute because I want to show you what he said yesterday regarding the Epstein case. Anyways, here's an email between Jeffrey Epstein and Elon Musk. You all saw that Elon has been denying it. He said Trump's in the files. Well, look at this. He goes, Jeffrey Epstein says, how many people will you be for the heli to island? You know, Jeffrey Epstein, he was such an idiot. He couldn't talk for shit. And that's cockiness, right? I'm probably sure he could put a few sentences together, but he didn't give it. That's like when you don't care. You just text someone, blah, 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 done. He didn't give a shit about anybody. So he's asked that. And Elon Musk replies in 2012, remember, OA, probably just Tallulah and me. I believe that was his ex-partner. They have kids together, I think. What day/night will be the wildest party on your island? So my question is, if you were there and Jeffrey Epstein tried to get you there, why are you asking for the wildest party? Oh, this continues actually. Okay, so probably Tallulah and me. So another part of the emails so Elon Musk says, with other people redacted, we don't know to who, I'm assuming to Jeffrey Epstein, goes, we'll be in BVI, St. Bart's, so that's the British Virgin Islands, St. Bart's area over the holiday. Is there a good time to visit? Jeffrey replies saying, any day, and then gives him a list of days, the 1st, 8th, blah, blah. Elon Musk replies and goes, probably the 1st. Keep in mind, this is 2023. So remember the other one was in 2012, this 2023. So they've had correspondence for a couple of years, it seems. Okay, probably the 1st. Jeffrey Epstein goes, the 2nd or 3rd would be perfect. I will come and get you. Elon goes, I need to fly back to LA on the night of the 2nd. So W. And then goes, he follows up and goes, actually, I could fly back early on the 3rd. We will be in St. Bart's. When should we head to your island? So, as you can see, Elon Musk had correspondence with Jeffrey Epstein for a couple years. Now, I have something, because I keep my ear to the ground. I follow Elon Musk's daughter, Vivian, on Threads. And she came out with a statement a few days ago. And she goes, this is after the St. Bart's email I just read you. She goes, I'm just going to speak directly instead of being vague and cryptic. I can confirm we were in St. Bart's at the time specified in the emails, and therefore I believe they are authentic. This has basically already been confirmed through his attempts to paint them as out of context. Denial is a river in Egypt. I knew nothing about these emails previously, so I'm learning about everything at the same time as y'all. If there's any other information, I learned that I can corroborate, I will. Literally, what the fuck is my life? So, real context about Vivian. She transitioned to Vivian, and Elon Musk left her. So he just denounced her when she transitioned transgender. He just said, "I'm done. I'm kicking you to the curb." During the most sensitive part of her life, and they've not had any relationship. And she's been very quiet. But she has talked about how dangerous her dad is over the years. And now she says this when that email came out. So Elon and Reid Hoffman are going back and forth, and that's the sentiment of what's happening. Now, there are a lot of allegations outside of assault that Epstein had been a part of, which is international relations. I'm still trying to digest a lot of that information, but it is very clear that international relations have a huge chokehold on our politicians. Israel, Russia, you name it, we're fucked, is what I'm trying to say. So, this Epstein thing, 3 million documents were released, millions still not, millions redacted with no excuse, the victims being doxxed with no excuse, protecting the billionaires, and JD Vance, all them, by the way, quiet. Oh, Howard Lutnick is another one that we need to keep an eye on. He's all up in the files. And that is after Howard Lutnick said that he had no communication with Epstein after 2005. Google it right now. Google Howard Lutnick's interview about Epstein. It's so insane to me that he lied so publicly, knowing he's in the files. But that's what I'm trying to explain again and again, is that these people did not care. They thought they were invincible. Howard Lutnick was messaging with Epstein after 2005, actually. Shit, after 2008, when he was convicted, when Epstein was found guilty. So, this is what is happening in the United States. And we're going to pay attention. Pam Bondi's testifying, I believe, on February 11th. The Clintons are also later this month, the end of February. I'm paying attention. I will be back for more. Thank you so much. I understand the editing's all over the place. It took me a whole day to film this 40 minutes. So I appreciate you. And if you did make it this far, please like, subscribe, support me, and tell your MAGA friends. Tell your MAGA family. If you're MAGA at this point, we're done, huh? Like, if you know anybody that supports this administration after all this, they need to cleanse themselves. This is just vile. It's gross. It's disgusting. These allegations are horrific. I highly suggest you to look it up for just a few minutes. Keep your pulse, keep your ear to the ground like me. I will be back later this week. All right. Stay safe. Bye.